So in this video, I've got the big mini battle. Let's see which one comes out on top. Okay, so 2025, definitely the year of the mini driver. We've seen them in the past, but not by all the brands, and I don't think we've seen three of the brands, of the big brands, bring out in the same year. So this is quite an exciting test. Three very different looking golf clubs, but trying to do the same sort of thing in a way. Is it a fairway replacement? Quite possibly for a lot of golfers. Is it a driver replacement? Quite possibly for a lot of golfers as well. But we're going to put them up against each other, maybe see which one you might go out and prefer to try and test. We'll carry on with the video. I want to thank today's sponsors, Eagle Links Golf, who make high quality head covers and golfing accessories like scorecard holders, towels, ball markers, etc. All themed around football teams. So if you follow a big team, you can go and grab a head cover from them. I've got a discount code MNGolfCoach. Punch that in at checkout and that will give you 15% discount off anything on their website. Now, speccing these up as close as I can to get them in terms of the loft. So I've got the Elyte in 13.5. The GT280 only comes in one loft, which is 13. The Quad in the R7 from TaylorMade, I've got in 11.5, but I've lofted this up to very near to 13. So I've got these all within about half a degree of each other to keep this test as equal as I can. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Callaway, so the Elyte Mini. So this is actually the largest head of the three mini drives that we're going to hit. 340cc cubic capacity. We look at the club, it's very much just a mini version of the Elyte drivers. All the same sort of technology. So the makeup of this is 43 3/4 inches in length, 340cc head, so it's a little bit longer than your 3 wood, but obviously a lot shorter than a driver. So there's a little bit of that control element of this. And there's a very Callaway distinct sound. So very similar to what we sort of hear and feel really with the Elyte drive. We've still got all that carbon on the top, so we're going to get that more muted sort of sound. So it's that time. I'm just going to butt in and ask for your help and support if I can. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the videos, really appreciate it if you just consider hitting that subscribe button and make sure you ring the bell while you're there as well. Then you'll get notification of any new videos that land on the channel. You'll be one of the very first ones to watch it and you will not miss a thing. Let's jump back to the video. So obviously on the bottom of the golf club, again, like the mini drive, we've got the three ports for that weight in the back, neutral, draw, fade. We've got that weighted screw at the front, which is obviously going to stay fixed. We've got OptiFit sleeves, so we can move this loft up and down, well, up 2 degrees, down 1 degree. We can change the lie angle, so lots of playability and dialing that we can potentially do to suit a certain club delivery and shot pattern. There's a little toey one, but that will do all right. Okay, that definitely flighted a little bit higher. That was struck a tiny bit higher in the club face, which is obviously going to give me that slightly higher launch, but again, it's very straight. So that's the big thing with these mini drivers, is control. So if you're struggling to maybe control your driver, then maybe the mini is a good option with that shorter shaft and a little bit more loft. Okay, we'll come back to it more with the Callaway soon, but let's move quickly into the TaylorMade, the R7 Quad Mini. Now this is retro. This brings back a lot of memories. 2005, 2006, I think, was when R7 as a driver came out. The first driver with 4 movable weights. It was pretty revolutionary in terms of the technology, and like TaylorMade is with their model, should I say, they always tend to push the boundaries, and this is no exception. So great, sort of all the colours are back there, great sort of retro kickback, and I think first impression, should I say, is it's a pretty good looking golf club, as we're going to expect. We've got that matte finish, we've got a beautiful little bit of logo in that heel section. We've got obviously the R7 Quad logo in. We've got that yellow and the black and the red, which is definitely that R7 Quad look, but all with the modern sort of twist. So we've got twist face, we've got speed pocket, we've got the adjustable neck sleeve, we've got carbon crown. So we've got all the sort of modern technology that we see in the drivers, but in this retro throwback of the R7. Oof, and that's flown off the face. It has gone a bit left, granted, but that sounding has felt fantastic off the club face. So they do 2 lofts in the R7 Quad, 11.5, 13.5. Now, TaylorMade have just sent me the 11.5, so obviously it's not quite perfect either, so I've had to loft this up And when we do loft up with a TaylorMade, it will slightly hood the face in, so closes the face, points it a little bit more to the left. So I'm not going to blame that completely on the club face for that left shot there, but it does sit a little bit towed into me. I definitely don't need any help in hitting that ball left, so this isn't ideal in terms of a shot direction. That's a good shot. It's a little bit off the toe, but that's a very nice ball flight. Great sound and feel with that. I've got the two 13-gram weights at the back, so I'm playing this in its most forgiving option, and with a quad weight system we can move obviously the weights forward and put the two 4-gram lighter weights at the back. That will get the spin down, but maybe not quite as forgiving. Forgiveness wise, I've got it as I have with the weights at the back. We can make it draw, we can make it fade with the weights in the heels and the toes. So there's a lot of adjustability that we can do with this driver. And this is a 305cc head, so smaller than the Callaway. Again, great strike, great flight, just working up that left-hand side, maybe that just that club face, which is fine. But that feels really solid and a great sound to that off the club face. And then moving into the GT280, so Titleist's first ever mini driver, and we're seeing a fantastic look. We're seeing a GT driver in a small compact version, as you're going to expect. Sits beautifully down by that golf ball. Probably out of the three, this is for me the cleanest look. Smallest head, as the name suggests, 280 is 280cc, so the smallest out of the three of the heads. And the shaft length on this is 43.5, so both the TaylorMade and the Callaway are 43.75 inches. There's only a 0.75 difference. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful flight. That is, I think I did say this on my review video, this is just a Titleist look, Titleist feel, which I always feel takes some beating, to be honest, but a great ball flight there. So they only offer one loft in the Titleist and it's 13, and that is it. But obviously we do have the Sure Fit sleeve here, so we can move that loft up 1.5 degrees and down by 0.75 degrees. So we've got some leeway there. We've got some light angle changes, and then we've got two weights in the bottom of the head. So again, we can flip those around, put the heavier weight at the front, lighter weight at the back, depending on what you want to do with the launch and the spin. So again, plenty of adjustability. Oh, that sounds phenomenal. It's a good ball flight again. Very solid sound off that club face. Yeah, pretty good numbers. Beauty. That's a good ball flight. Real big fan of where that sort of sits behind the ball. Love that Titleist look, to be honest. I've had a Titleist driver in my past, so that sits fantastically square, very clean, great sound, great feel, as they all do with the Titleist drivers. Quickly, we'll just do a little comparison between these three drivers side by side. For me, three good looking drivers, but all different in their own way, so you'll obviously choose a little bit of a preference between them. Okay, so I'm going to move back into the Callaway. I'm going to hit three more with each of these drivers. We're going to hit them from the ground now. So, you know, tied to lie, let's see how easy or easier maybe one is over the other, potentially, of getting that ball sort of launched. Now, as I mentioned, going back to the Callaway here, with that deeper face, that larger 340cc head, when you sit that down by the ball, it looks like a proper driver behind the ball when you're playing it from the fairway, if that makes sense. The ball looks to be sat really low because obviously the face of the club is a little bit higher. As I mentioned before, it looks a little bit more, maybe a little bit more daunting if you feel a bit more off put with that. But it does pick it up very nicely, but it does feel like you've hit it low in the face. Just moved a little bit up the left. Yeah, and I mean, there's no issues with that getting up. It does look a little bit spinnier on the flight as we're striking it slightly lower in the club face. That's probably the best hit of the three. Again, there's plenty of height on that. Okay, so flicking back now into the TaylorMade R7 Quad. Again, I've got the weights at the back. I'm going to keep them there because that's going to help me a little bit from this ground. Oh, that's a good strike. A little bit of left to right on that, actually. But that felt a bit more of a solid contact from the ground. You know, as I say, I've got the adjustability, and maybe that's the down point, maybe the Callaway, I can't put any weight forward in the head to try and get spin down at all. Whereas this, I do have the option of throwing those two 13-gram weights forward in the head to try and just dial that spin a little bit more. That's a good solid strike, just a little bit up the left. Feels fantastic, that's a great solid sound with the TaylorMade. And that was a little bit off the heel. Just trying to cut back on me a tiny bit. Started up the left, trying to work its way back, it's touch. Okay, and then finally moving into the Titleist, so GT280 from the ground. So I think out of the three, I think probably because it's the smallest head, that looks more inviting to pick up from the ground. Okay, that's a little bit low, but that's flown pretty good. That won't be the longest I wouldn't have thought, but it's one of those shots where you take that on the golf course. Oh, again, a little bit low. It's absolutely arrow straight. Again, probably just spin, just launched a touch low, spun up a little bit. Yeah, there we go, that's the strike. That's probably the best strike there with the Titleist. That's a super ball flight. So definitely get the best accuracy wise, left to right dispersion with the Titleist. But three quite different drivers we've got in our hands there. Elyte, larger head. TaylorMade, slightly smaller. Titleist, slightly smaller again. So post comments down below, let me know your thoughts. Which one would you go for? And is there a place for this in your bag? Love to hear your thoughts as always, and hopefully catch up with you all very soon.